and name that pretty little baby.
Season's greetings, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Ophelia Wellington, and I'm the founding director of Freetown Village. Now, normally this time of the year, we would be in production or in rehearsal for Freetown Village Celebrates Christmas, a family tradition. But as you know, and everybody else knows, this has been a different year. We have been thinking, how are we going to do our Christmas show? And we thought, well, we need to do what we can do virtually. So we're here tonight, and we're all in these fancy face shields so that we can protect ourselves and from each other. But we want to talk about Freetown Village Celebrates Christmas, a family tradition.
Some call him Jesus.
Now, typically, this show would take place in Freetown Village in the year 1870. Now, where is Freetown Village? Well, actually, it does not exist, but you can believe that it really does in the hearts and minds of so many people. In the year 1870, many formerly enslaved African Americans were migrating to Indianapolis, to the capital. What were they coming here for? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A lot of that had to deal with freedom and economic independence. So where did they live? Well, it was along the White River. See, the White River was supposed to be, Indianapolis was supposed to be a river city. But of course, the White River was too shallow for navigation, but people lived in and around the river. That's kind of where IUPUI is today.
And then I added some wheat germs.
Many of the people that came here came from Kentucky, North Carolina, and Virginia, and they came bringing with them their knowledge, their own interests, and information about Christmas. And for some people, Christmas was a big celebration. Some, it was just another day. Some didn't even realize it was Christmas. I mean, you don't have a calendar and no one's telling you, how do you know that it's Christmas? And some people had to work because you had to make a living. So when people come to this one place, whose celebration will they choose? That's part of the show. How do you decide, even in your own family, when you have an idea, somebody else has an idea, you have to come together and compromise, work out a deal. So today, we're going to talk about some of the things that happened in early Indianapolis. It's a history lesson. So in and around Indiana Avenue, we had the early churches, Allen Chapel, Bethel AME, Second Christian, Second Baptist. And for those of you who don't know what AME is, it's African Methodist Episcopal Church. And of course, we had the Freetown Village Church. We had schools. A lot of the AME had their own schools. And there was the Indianapolis School number 4. And of course, we had the Freetown Village School. We had all kinds of things going on. And some of the people who tell the story are right here.
Hello, everyone. I am Kimberly Janelle. I was the 2019 director for this production. I was extremely honored when Miss Ophelia reached out and asked me if I would be a part. And I will tell you that it was I was a little apprehensive. If you have ever been in theater, if you've been in the entertainment industry at all, you know that in theater, you do not cross the fourth wall, right? You don't break that fourth wall. But we do that in Freetown Village. And I've never directed a piece that had that element. So I was very nervous, but super excited. And I will say to you, it was the absolute best experience that I have had as a director. And I am extremely grateful for the opportunity. But I need to introduce you to these amazing people who made this production. I will introduce you to Miss Ellen. What makes this so special for you?
Wow. Okay. I started when my son was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
He was a camper at Freetown. And Freetown at that time was held out at the fairgrounds. And I took him and his best friend for a summer experience. And I went in on Fridays to see what they had done for the week. I was really impressed. And now I've crossed into the acting portion with the Christmas Story as Edna Twitty.
Edna Twitty. But Edna Twitty, there's a story behind Edna Twitty being in the Christmas production, isn't there?
Yes, because Edna started out as just a singer, but she was the singer that was always late. The rest of the group was always there, and they were always waiting for this one character. She didn't have a name at that time. You just knew I was going to be the last one. Well, a couple of directors ago decided that let's give this lady that's in this town a name, and we're going to let her do something special. So the director decided that I would bake a pie. However, nobody wanted to eat my pie. I'm a young cook. I think I'm doing great, and everybody loves Edna, so they don't want to tell her how awful her cooking is. So everybody kind of skirts around her, and I think everybody knows somebody in the community. They mean well. They just don't quite hit the mark.
Well, there was one particular person that always tried to be super nice, Reverend Strong. Mr. Tim, when he would talk about Sister Twitty leaving her pie in the office, he was always trying to be very hospitable to Sister Twitty. But Tim, would you like to tell us how your journey with Freetown, how you got to this point?
This journey that I've been on with them now, going on to some 35 years, it's just been like a great big oak tree with new leaves and new branches and new adventures that's kept me so involved. I mean, if we think from the 1980s until now, I'm wearing a shield on my face, so the journey has been a long one. One of the main things I've learned and experienced and have growth is that when you give to your community and you tell your community its story, and especially the honorable points of aspects of your community. The people in Freetown Village, when I was Isaiah Comfy and Levi Freeman, and now I am graciously Reverend Samuel P. Strong, which I have performed now for over 20 years. But all of these characters had the same trait: love of community, love of self, respect of self, and these are the things that personally traits I loved and worshiped. And then I noticed when I performed in the community, the feedback of the folks in the community, from little children asking me after plays that are saying, hey, what you were doing up there, my mom said that could have been my great-grandfather you were representing. And I'll share with them like, yes. And when they say, well, how can I do that? And having the chance to share those journeys. As pertaining to the the wedding's one of our productions that we've done, but now our Christmas play, our 1870 Christmas play, it has grown from when I have a daughter that's 26 years old that once played the little child Rebecca.
Oh, wow. When we speak about, I remember when I talked with Miss Ophelia about the characters, and specifically with Reverend Strong, she said, yeah, we've had somebody else do Reverend Strong before, but Tim is Reverend Strong.
That's right.
Like, Tim can't be nobody else but Reverend Strong. And so knowing that coming in, now I will also say, can't nobody be
Mother and Dora.
like these two characters. We
Mother
got
and
Miss
Dora.
Taz, who played Mother and Dora. Mother and Dora is a root woman. She was a woman that made sure that everybody stayed well.
Yes.
And then Guinea Blue was played by Mr. Alex. When I tell you that I can never see this production with anybody in those spots, like it's just not, it's not possible. So we'll start with Miss Taz. You want to kind of tell about your journey with Freetown?
Now, I want to jump in before she starts,
Yes.
because you said something that's very important. The people embrace the characters, and the characters in Freetown Village are based on real people. And in many communities, you're going to have a minister, you're going to have a Twitty, you're going to have each of these kinds of people. So Freetown Village, again, it represents early communities and the stories of the people. It's all based on research, and the stories change as we find more research, and the actors put their personality into it. And there was one time, and Tim was with us when we were doing a whole lot of touring, where it was hard to distinguish the person's character from their real name. And as Tim says before, you know, that people still call him Rev. He's not a minister. He's never once mentioned going into the ministry, but people identify with that character. So I'm sorry, Taz, you can start now.
No, I actually was gonna bring that point up about them being real people. Like the research, it was extremely impressive to me coming in as a director, like getting the history of each character, where they came from, how they ended up in Freetown Village. And so, yeah, I love the fact that they are based on real people. And she's absolutely right. Everybody got a Sister Twitty. Everybody know one. Guinea Blue, Miss Mother and Door. Everybody has one. I can't wait to get to your character. So, Miss Taz, you want to kind of tell about your journey with Freetown and this Christmas production?
Well, I've been with Freetown now since 2015. And of course, anybody in Indianapolis knows what an intricate part of Freetown has been in the theater community, and combining education with entertainment. So that in the historical, so I've always wanted to be a part, but you'd be like, I would like to get on that. I would like to get in on that. Well, I got the chance in 2015, and that was one of my little dreams come true, to be a part of something like that. And so Mother Endures, the root woman. I definitely come from a history, bloodline of root women. So it's always the running joke in my family about that, you know. But strong. We all know about the, municipal, holistic, alternative healing. And she is the mother of Freetown.
Yes.
And, she kind of set the tone when
Yes,
she
she
want to
does.
set the tone, But it's also, she's loving, she's healing, traditional. We get into the art of storytelling.
Yes.
So I've really been able to grow as an actor, been able to grow watching other directors and such as yourself and everybody. Y'all come in, everybody brings something. And you can't work with Miss Ophelia, one, and not be about that research. You will do your research,
Absolutely.
okay?
Let her know.
you're
And
gonna
don't
learn.
say things that you cannot document.
That's right. That's right.
We gonna that's right. She'd
That's
be like,
right.
no, they didn't say kids back
That's
then.
right. That's
Kids
right.
and some goats. Don't say kids. That's you know what I
Language,
mean?
everything.
But that keeps you on point.
Yes.
It helps you evolve. It helps you grow. It has set the tone for the standard that you should have for production.
That's right.
And I want to thank her so much for that, because you're gonna learn. You're gonna grow. We've seen so many changes over the different years. I mean, every year is different, even for us that's in it. So that's always a blessing, because it never gets stale.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So Mother Endure is hard, but it's somebody, it's one person in this cast that I always know how to push Mother Endure's buttons to get her a little,
Yeah.
that's old Guinea Blue.
Oh, Guinea.
Old Guinea Blue. Mr. Alex, you want to tell us about your character and how you came to Freetown?
Sure. So, I'm Alex. I play the part of Guinea Blue. And my journey really started, I'm born in Indianapolis, but I lived in New York for a while and then moved back here. But during my time in New York, I started getting involved with the spoken word and poetry scene. And that really got me comfortable with just being expressive on the stage. And because spoken word, that's all you're doing is really telling a story, but it's the way that you tell a story. And so I kept that going here in Indianapolis as far as the acting realm. And a friend of mine was directing Freetown Village, the Christmas program at the time, and reached out to me, was like, there's a part, I think you'll be perfect for. And just what really sparked my interest was the history, to be able to be interactive and teach and tell history in a fun and exciting way. And when I heard about that, I was like, I'm on board. And so the character Guinea Blue, that really intertwined with my own life, because I remember being a young boy and going to the barbershops growing up. And I would, sitting in the barbershop, waiting to get my hair cut. And there was always somebody that came in the barbershop and had something to sell, and I'm talking about a variety of things to sell. They would have a T-bone steak, some watches, some socks, CDs. Some folks may not know what CDs are, but they had everything that and even if they didn't have what you wanted, they could get what you wanted.
Yes.
And so, and even if that was gossip, what's going on in the community. And so when I heard about the character, Guinea Blue, that's who Guinea Blue is, and that's where that character came from. And he was called a huckster, and a huckster. So they have all the gossip, they know everything that's going on in the community, whatever you need. That Guinea Blue has it on his peddler's wagon. Whatever you need. If you don't have it, I'm gonna get it for you. Oh, Guinea gonna get it for you. Right? So he can provide everything that you wanted. And so I just attached to the character, and it's actually amazing because even on my job now, I do the character. I'm a trainer on my job, so I train a lot of my new hires to take phone calls and do customer service. And so I'll act like I'm calling in, and I'll be in the character of Guinea Blue, and they love it. They're like, "Oh, can you be Guinea again?" So it's just a great character. Freetown. It's a great experience, and if you really haven't experienced it, is truly an experience. But that's what grabbed me from the very beginning, was just bringing history to life.
Yes.
That took place right here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, in a fun way, like the way you said, teaching the history and the traditions and stuff in a fun way. You just can't beat it, you just can't beat it. We have our last, she is considered the first lady of Freetown Village, Miss Nakia. She plays Sarah Elizabeth. You want to tell about your journey with Freetown in this production?
Yes. So I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I didn't know anything about Freetown Village when I moved here in 2014. I had just got into acting, and I saw a audition for the Sarah Elizabeth part. I think it was in 2017 when I auditioned for that part, and it was down at the Manuel C.J. Walker Theater at the time. And I just remember going in, doing an audition, and then I was offered the part, and then we were going through, and they were like, "You interact with the audience," and I'm like, "Say what?"
No, they're there, and I'm here.
So like I actually like talked to them, and I gotta remember my lines and stay in character. So it was. I cried a few times in rehearsal trying to get through. Because it's such a relatable experience. Even though I've never experienced what it was living in those times, just the community aspect of it, the camaraderie, the bringing together of a community to try to extend what it is that we're used to and try to expand on those traditions. I think that we're always advancing somehow. So Sarah Elizabeth, I can kind of relate to her in a sense, but she's very manipulative, she's very assertive, and she always figures out a way to get her way with her little smile and her perky attitude,
Absolutely.
And don't let nobody talk about her husband, because
Listen,
Fighting words.
them is fighting words. Yeah. Her husband, Isaiah Cuffey, was the founder of the city. Barbershop, he was the one that made it.
Yeah.
He was the uncle in the family that made it. But Sarah Elizabeth didn't play about that husband. You're not going to talk about her husband.
Now, also, barbering was one of the few professions that black men could have. So he was well thought of. Sarah Elizabeth's character is from Jefferson County, Indiana. So she was freeborn. So we have, and Reverend Strong was freeborn. So in the town of Freetown, you have those who were freeborn and those who had been enslaved. And Edna Twitty, we don't know where she came from because she was an add-on.
Bless her heart. Yeah.
And it was a character that was created. And even with the story of the Christmas show, the first Christmas show we did was in 1988. And over the year, we're not doing the exact same show. It changes every year. It even changes during production.
Oh, yes.
We're sitting there thinking, where'd that line come from? Who said that? Where are we in the script?
Yes, we do.
But
Yes.
it evolves. And as long as people know what the story is, the outcome, it creates a new show every year. I know last year when we were promoting the show, I remember someone had called and says, now is this the same show you did last year? I said, the title's the same. Some of the characters are the same. Some of the storyline you may recognize, but it's a different show.
Yes. And one thing we incorporate, not only does Sarah Elizabeth have to interact, we go out and we bring people into certain parts. When we're having the church meeting, some of us go out into the audience, and that's when Edna is out, and I'm riling up people. Yes, yes, we want whatever Sarah Elizabeth says. And then when Sarah says something that Edna doesn't like, oh, no. No. So we are out there, and we bring the children in. There's a part that we had the children to come on stage, so they connect with not only what's up there, but wow, I got to go up there, whether it's for the night before Christmas that Mother Endora clarifies after Isaiah's story, and she tells them, no, this is what Christmas is really about.
And
the
that
children
story
are
of
mesmerized.
the Christmas story,
Yeah.
we bring in a lot of the traditions.
Yes.
And forget the name of the author who wrote the Christmas story, The Night Before Christmas. And we talk about mincemeat pie, and which many of us don't eat or don't care for mincemeat. But Christmas tree.
Yeah.
At this time, Christmas trees were pretty new. And the idea is, Guinea Blue says, you're going to cut a tree down from the outside and bring it into the house.
Into the house.
And we didn't have electric lights, so we had candles. And people would put these little candles on the tree, they're clamped to the tree, and you would light it. Of course, a lot of people they'd burn the house down, but that was a new thing, and people like something new. But we talk about some of the new things, people buying wrapping presents, wasting paper on a present, and then Christmas cards, the idea of spending good hard-earned money on a Christmas card. Well, at this time, you had Valentine's cards, but Christmas cards were pretty new. So we do bring out a lot of the traditions. And I can remember one of the times we did the show, and Jacob, for Christmas, and these are the children that are in the show.
Right.
Jacob and Rebecca, who are the Cuffey's children. Sarah Elizabeth stitched up a pair of trousers for him. That was his Christmas present. And this was during intermission. I overheard a little boy tell his father, "You mean that's all he got for Christmas was a pair of pants?" He's like, "Oh God, the world was coming to an end if that's all you get for Christmas." But then it was a whole different value system. And today Christmas is so commercialized, we don't recognize the story of Christmas. And that's where Mother Endora, who is the matriarch, who is the center of traditions, she comes and says, no, we're going to get this straight. And then Reverend Strong also wants to bring in the religious content, the Christian content of Christmas. So we bring in the old and the new, and each character just kind of runs with it. Like I said, sometime during production, I'm thinking,
What page we on?
where are we? And especially when somebody drops a line, and then the rest of you have to figure out how we're going to go back and get that.
And don't let Guinea get started with his piece of candy.
There you go.
Because Guinea, you know, when Guinea Blue was growing up, all he got was just a little piece of peppermint candy, and he had to suck on that the whole year.
That's it.
You know, different times.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
But that just reminds, I hate to age myself, but I do remember as a child, my grandparents being very proud of giving me $5 and a big, thick, it seemed like it was about 10 inches wide peppermint stick.
Yes.
I'm sure it was just a small, but a straight peppermint stick. That was their gift. That was my gift from them. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, because sometimes fruit or candy
Yes.
was your Christmas
That was
present, and you were happy to get that.
happy to get
Again, Christmas was just another day.
Yeah.
Well, we've upgraded to PlayStation 5s now, okay?
Speaking of the history, just hearing you speak about that peppermint stick and the fruit, that was part of our Christmas. Even I'm not as old as Miss Ellen, but I can remember for years that was one thing that we knew we was gonna get was that fat
Big
peppermint
stick.
stick,
That's it.
right? And then we each, it usually happened at church, the Sunday before Christmas. We got bags of fruit. We got an apple. We got a orange. We got peppermints.
Probably some nuts.
Some walnuts,
Okay.
yes. So just seeing how that stuff, where did it come from, and to hear that it's included in Freetown, which I know is totally historically correct, right? And how that kind of trickles down into each generation. I loved also, which this was new, that was new this past year, the celebration that Guinea Blue shared that they did in, where are you from, Virginia? Right?
Oh, no, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Oh, the cooking?
The
meal?
John Canoe.
Oh,
They would go John Canoeing.
Yes.
John what? It's an actual
Yes, it is.
holiday and celebration. I never would have came across that information had it not been connected to this production, and then to be able to share that with our community, and not in a boring like history lesson, but to make it so fun and funny, like you can never forget that John Canoe moment, you know, in the production. It was just amazing. It was just amazing.
And if I may, just some more historical aspects of the production that we do, because during this time, you had Puritans that were in Massachusetts, and a lot of folks thought celebrating Christmas was just sinful, because we had Thanksgiving, and Abraham Lincoln, God rest his soul, in 1870, had decreed that holiday, and folks were settled with that. And then here this tradition comes about Christmas. I mean, and like I said, some of the Puritans were thinking, you know, you're gonna go straight to hell, celebrating all this stuff. But then in Freetown Village, we had to be with Sarah Elizabeth there, bringing us of age, that let's explain this new tradition and why we should embrace it. And then me as the actor growing into this production, I'm like, yeah. Now we're taking it to another level.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, she's peeling some layers and letting us see what even the women folk as being, for lack of a better term, not forceful, but showing leadership.
Assertive.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes.
Assertive. And so then a lot of times, you know, as I was a boy coming up in school, and I watched shows like the Waltons and the Gunsmoke and the shows, now I'm aging myself, but the shows of my time, the women were just baking biscuits, and I just seen them with this and that, and you know, and I was, so to see this assertive figure in this point of history was another unveiling to let them know the things that were going on in this time period.
Yeah.
And again, just how it reflects inside of me of what I bring. Then Reverend Strong talks, and I'm gonna set it down. But when we're talking about me talking, but even at my job, I work at Methodist Hospital, and now since this last production we did, I've never had so many people when I walk into my job and say, "Hey, what's going on, Rev?" And I'm like, that's just the community accepting that character.
Yeah, connecting you to that character. I know that we had mentioned it about, well, Alex mentioned it about bringing Guinea into his job in training. I know you have mentioned a couple times where people have connected
People
you
will
to.
see me in the community, and they'll say, "Oh, you were in that play? Oh, you not baking any more pies?
Yes.
You And I created that pie. I made up the ingredients, but they really look at me like, especially in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I will
You
say that
go back.
it is very hard to break character when you're like immersed in it, when you're going through the rehearsals and you're doing the show. It was kind of hard for me to kind of tap out of Sarah Elizabeth for a little bit. I'd be at home like, goodness gracious,
Yeah.
why is this kitchen such a mess? And the kids are like, what is going on?
Yeah,
We'll do the dishes, Mom. We'll do it.
So I'm old school. I'm an old soul, so I've been mother of daughter all my life,
your
probably. Y'all see me on a regular basis. I'm always mother, probably,
love
you know, but.
I love it. The beauty of that is taking a character, same person on paper, right?
Yes.
But you have embodied that character. Even if you do the character year after year after year, you still have brought new life to that character so that it's not stale. Certain things that they do expect from Sister Twitty or Mother and Dora,
It's
but
home.
it's still there, right?
Right.
But in a way that they're like, okay, I wonder what you. So is it, okay, what's going to be with
You
them
see, and
this year?
I think it's the unpredictability
Yes.
that really keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what those that are coming out to watch the production, we don't know what they're going to do or say when we bring them up.
Yeah.
They don't know what we're going to do or say,
Yeah.
you know, from year to year. So that unpredictability and the staying on the edge of your seats, you know, really keeps people involved. when they come back.
Absolutely. Because when you invite the audience into the production,
Right.
you know, that puts a different element in the production. But I think anybody who is blessed to see this production will have an experience that they surely will never forget. I know for myself as a director, there were times where I had to make myself stay in director mode because I was just so, you know, when the times when we would engage the audience and I would go into awe, like, okay, ooh, what's going to happen? Is somebody going to say something? What we going to do? Which makes me excited about 2021, right? We had some great plans for 2020. After this past Christmas production, me and Miss Ophelia and Miss Miriam has sat and said, okay, how can we make this a truly a family tradition? And we had some amazing plans that we were super excited about. However, 2021
I'm not ahead of it.
2021 is going to be great.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
So, you know, even in traditions, for those who are watching, you may not feel like you have a family tradition, but make one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could start at any time. It could be something you saw somebody else do. It could be something that you wanted to do. It could be some of both of all of those things. That's what makes this a family tradition.
Absolutely.
But this has been fun.
It has been
It has
fun.
been, yeah.
Just recapping and planning for next year. So with Freetown Village, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in, listening. And we want to make sure you stay with us and support Freetown Village.
Please follow us. They're going to put the information on the screen. Please follow us. Find out what we're doing.
And to support more shows like this, please follow us at freetownvillage.org.
And from our family to yours, happy holidays from Freetown Village.